Hello there, my name's Erik and I'm creating a little building game called ShantyTown. In ShantyTown you place objects down one at a time to create dense urban environments. Instead of that being the whole game like Townscaper or Tiny Glade, I wanted to add discovery as a core gameplay feature to this already established genre. To do that, I took inspiration from a game called Cloud Gardens, where you move from one location to another, getting new objects to place and new environments to place them in as you progress. So I set myself a bit of a game design ethos that each location you build in should have a unique feel. Maybe you're building a wide and flat neighborhood, or a tall and narrow one. Or perhaps there's some different types of buildings to place, or a new style of architecture. Maybe you just get to choose where you start the map. As mentioned in the previous devlog, I recently worked on 2 walking house locations and a floating barge. So there's already quite a bit of variety going on, which feels great to play in, as you never know what your next location has in store for you, which is pretty fun.
Actually, that sounds kind of great.
I thought it would be interesting to dive a little bit deeper into a few steps that I take to design one of these locations. When making a new map, there are a few things I want that map to accomplish. First, it needs to feel unique or interesting mechanically. This could be a new type of item that has specific placement requirements, or just some goals that guide or restrict the player to encourage them to a certain outcome. Like asking players not to stack buildings, or to stack a lot. Secondly, I want a location to feel satisfying to play.
Well, duh.
This is a bit trickier to accomplish and requires proper pacing, making sure that the location is neither too long nor too short, and that all the objects are given in a semi-predetermined order to allow for both creativity and flow. For example, the tutorial level used to give you this bench as a first object, but most players would put it in the middle of the open space, only to then realize that they didn't have space for the 2 buildings that came later. Having the bench come after the buildings helps players keep a good flow, and they don't even notice it. For these kinds of adjustments, I have surveys at the end of each map and a QA higher that's helping me make things as good as they can be. Third, I want a location to be interesting visually, satisfying a fantasy. Which should lead to a good photograph at the end as well. This goes along with good pacing, but it's also nice item selection and to create a good story that goes with that location. So today, let's work on the island map called Hotpot Casino. I just like the idea that laws don't apply if you're out on the sea, so that's really a good place for a casino. Because I already have a map that's floating on a barge, this one was going to be built on stilts instead. I put a big block of stone so players know where to get started, and gave them a bunch of stilts to build out their own player space. Most people tended to build a wide platform like this, which is fine, but not very exciting. So I added some other vertical pillars to encourage players to think outside the box a bit. This all satisfies the first requirement of an interesting mechanic, as it's the first time you get to play with these stilts. It's really fun to be able to build your own play area. As for map items, I have these 2 big hotel pieces that look pretty fancy when they upgrade. As well as some other smaller houses and an industrial kitchen. In addition to this, I thought that wall planters, a few tables, and umbrellas would fit nice. All of these items are fun to place and work well together, which meets the second requirement of creating a satisfying location. But the third requirement, fulfilling a fantasy, I'd say isn't quite met. The result actually looks pretty good, but it doesn't quite feel like a casino. So what could I do to push it further in that direction?
Gambling.
This whole location is based off of the Jumbo restaurant that sank in Hong Kong in 2022. RIP Jumbo. So I decided to take inspiration from that and add some big neon signs. I made a metal frame and added some layered planes, and then added 2 different materials to them. One with black outlines, which is sandwiched by neon. This makes the sign appear to be 3D at a glance. I created the neon material and pumped up the emissive, and it already looks pretty good. But I decided to take it a step further and add a bit of animation to it. So I put them on a 2x2 grid and changed the illumination slightly on each one. Then you can use a flipbook system to show each of the 4 scenes one at a time. But I wanted a bit more control, so I created my own system using panners and these floor nodes to jump from one scene to the next. Then I created a system that showed the last frame for an extended amount of time, which I feel really lets the neon design soak in. I created 10 variants in total, so you can pick what type of casino sign fits your build best. I also added some ATMs, some slot machines, and made their monitors show old advertisement images, and then flipped through the screens using similar systems to the neon sign. Finally, I took some inspiration from the Asian water casino in James Bond's Skyfall, and added some floating lanterns in the water around the location. As a quick pass, I think it looks and feels much better. And I think it's going in the right direction. I could take it a bit further and pull inspiration from locations like Jiufeng in Taiwan and add some more lanterns, vines, and foliage in general. If you have some other ideas, feel free to pop them in the comments, and I'll check out what you're cooking up. That's pretty much the steps I take for creating a map. Now I just need to get going and do it for the other 19 locations. But I think that'll be enough for now. Wish me luck. Bye-bye.